Everybody together. Are you ready for Jesus? This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Screaming for the Lord. For the Lord can hear us in heaven. You know, many of us are here. And many of us, like me, for the first time when I came, and I was sitting in one of those seats. When I was sitting in one of those seats, estaba sentado en uno de esos asientos. Yo llegué con dudas, con preguntas, si Dios existe. Mi esperanza era, yo no creía mucho en Dios. Sí escuchaba, sí, Dios es real, Dios te puede sanar, Dios te puede liberar. Sí, yo hay un Dios en este mundo. Pero yo nunca creía eso. Nunca. Yo decía, bueno, si Dios es tan real, si Dios es tan vivo, ¿por qué me están pasando todos esos problemas en la calle? Si Dios es tan real, si Dios es tan vivo, why don't I receive His love? Si Dios es tan real, si Dios es tan vivo, ¿por qué se llevó a mis abuelos? Todo eso me pasaba por la mente. Todo lo que me pasaba que era negativo, se lo sacaba a Dios. Le decía, Señor, God, you have left me alone. I would tell Jesus, you have left me alone. And you're supposed to be real. And when I would speak, when I would go into my room and say, Lord, if you're out there, God, if you're out there, are you listening to me? Can you talk to me? Can you help me? I never heard a response. But you know what? One day, my mom crying, came up to me and said, Billy, I don't want you to be the same anymore. I'm afraid something's going to happen to you. Mi mamá, asustada por lo que me iba a pasar a mí, porque ella sabía que yo estaba en los caminos equivocados. Ella sabía. For 3 months I was out of my house. For 3 months I was living off on Broad Street side. For 3 months I was fighting. For 3 months I was stealing. For more than 3 months I was doing all kinds of sins. Woo! You don't even know. All kinds of sins. And I don't want to get into detail, but God knows. And I did all those things. He said, todas esas cosas, pero me sentía más y más solo, más y más vacío. As I went on and I walked and I did everything I did out there in the world, I felt more alone, I felt more empty. But you know what? It came one moment, it came one time when I was like, what am I doing? I didn't even know myself anymore. Yo ni me conocía a mí mismo. I was so tied up into fighting. I was so tied up into drinking. I was so tied up into having sex that it became an addiction I couldn't get away from. No podía alejar de eso. As much as I tried, I was like, no, I'm not doing that no more. Because I knew it was starting to hurt me. I knew it was starting to get to me. I knew I was becoming emptier and emptier. But as many times as I tried to walk away, I couldn't walk away from all of that. Because it had become part of me. It had become part of me. But what's beautiful about God, what's beautiful about everything, that day my mom went crying to me and tell me, look, mira amigo, yo no quiero que te pase algo en la escuela. Yo no quiero que te diga contigo que te pase algo. Porque yo no sé lo que yo haría sin ti. Those words, cuando yo escuché esas palabras, they sank into my heart. So yo decidí venir a Argentina. Decidí venir. Y estaba en uno de esos asientos como estás tú hoy. I was in one of those seats like you are today. And I came, Lord, if you're real, show me. If you're real, show me. A lot of you maybe have the same question. God, if you're real, show me. God, if you're real, show me. God, if you're real, show me. Many of you today might feel like you're the lost sheep. Many of you today feel like you're so far apart from God that you feel this is just a waste of time and you just can't because of your mom, your brother, your sister, your friend one that gets all the sheep together. That's Jesus. That's who Jesus is. But not just that. Jesus is that loving Father. In the parable of the prodigal son, as we see in the Bible, there was the son. There was the son that went to his father. Father, I want my part of the inheritance. So the father gave him the gold, gave him the money, and he went to do his own life. He went all alone with the money. He got into prostitution. He got into sinning. He got into gambling. He wasted everything the father had given him. He wasted it completely. So then he had nothing left. He didn't think of what was going to happen afterwards. He didn't think of the consequence. So then he ended up working at a stable, feeding pigs, where he even envied. He envied the pigs because the pigs ate better food than he did. So he wouldn't even eat the pig's food. But one day, he thinks to himself and he decides, well, the servants at my father's house eat better than I do. The servants at my father's house have a roof, which he didn't have. So he decides, well, I'm going to go back home and I'm going to work for my father. And I'll become one of his servants. And as he's walking back home, his father's looking out from the house window. And his father sees this young boy, and right away he recognizes him. He comes down, and the father starts running to his child. The father starts running to the son. He starts running, and then he stops. Then when the son sees him, and the way the son was saying, God, I am sorry for I have sinned against heaven, and I have sinned against my father. Because as the father is there, the father is with his arms open. Even though the son went and took all those riches and wasted everything, the father ran to him and stopped and opened his arms. And what does that tell us? That father, that exact father, that opened his arms, that exact father, Jesus is God. Look how Jesus opened the arms to us on the cross, to receive us, to actually accept us. For God is our Father. First we gotta understand that God is our Father. That God is our Father. And that we are His children. We gotta understand that God is our Father, that we are His children. And that no matter what we do or we go out there and do, no matter if you're a sinner, doesn't matter if you're a sinner, God has His arms open to you. God has His arms open to you. For the people that He called, to be His apostles, we're fishermen, we're sinners. The least of the least, He called them to be His apostles and follow Him. Jesus was in this world and He called the fishermen. He didn't go after and call the people. He called the sinners. And for you who are out there and you feel that God cannot reach you, that God cannot touch you, you are wrong. For you who are out there that feel that God cannot do something in your life, you are wrong. And why do I say it with such sincerity? And why do I believe it? Because I know what God did in my life. And I know God can do wonders, even greater things than what He has done in me, He can do in you. 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 He can do it. For nothing's impossible for God. Nothing's impossible for Him. Nada es imposible para Dios. Nada es imposible para Dios. Pero en este día, el Señor no te está pidiendo. Él no te está pidiendo que lo ames. God is not asking you for you to love Him. He's asking you to let yourself be loved. Wow. That's big. God is not asking you at this moment to love Him. He's just asking you to let yourself be loved. Isn't that beautiful? That's crazy. If someone said that to me, no, don't love me. Just let me love you. Oh, come love me then. That's how God speaks to us. Speaking directly to you.